Hi everyone, my name's Jenna, and today we're going to be talking about teaching critical thinking, practical wisdom from Bell Hooks. Now, this is something I would not have chose to read on my own. However, my honors critical thinking course here at Bowling Green State University required me to read 3 nonfiction works and choose one to create a video book review on. I ultimately chose this book because I have found it very meaningful, and I believe both students and teachers alike should read this work or something similar. My mom is a teacher, which I contribute most of my initial interest in this particular book to. Through her, I have been exposed to the sides of a teacher's life that other students do not typically experience, such as the passion for building relationships with their students. During our in-class discussions on this work, the class focused on the importance of building a relationship with a teacher and how that relationship can make learning more immersive and interesting, especially in a course that may be considered boring. Hooks, Teaching 13, Humor in the Classroom presents one way for teachers to cultivate this relationship. I realized then that both wit and regular old everyday humor could really serve to create a more open atmosphere in the classroom. Simply put, laughter shared can draw groups closer together. This is especially true in classrooms where there's much that separates, where diversity is the norm, or where the subjects studied confront students with depressing facts from pages 71 to 72. I agree wholeheartedly with statement. Humor can be used as a gateway for teachers to relate to their students and show that they are beyond just a person who stands in front of them and relays information, that they are human beings with knowledge and connections beyond just the content of the class. This can help students feel like they can more easily approach the instructor, especially when they have questions. This benefits both the student, who can increase their understanding and knowledge, but it also benefits the teacher, as they are aware that at least one student, and most likely more, do not fully grasp a topic. Additionally, humor can de-stress a classroom and relieve tension, especially in more difficult courses. When humor is present in a challenging class, it can make the class, the teacher, and even the content seem less intimidating. I know this firsthand because my chemistry course is a harder class, but the goofier moments during lecture make the class feel lighter and more manageable. Lastly, humor can be implemented by teachers who don't feel as comfortable with their initial attempts at relationship building with students being more emotional in nature, or students who feel that their class is not conducive to emotional appeal. For example, middle school males are not likely to talk about their emotions, so a teacher may best reach such students through humor. Another chapter I found extremely intriguing was Teaching 22, titled The Joy of Reading. Personally, I connected with this chapter because growing up, I had an avid passion for reading. I would take novels with me out to restaurants and leave them at the tables. However, since high school, I have found myself almost dreading reading assignments for class and filling my free time with Netflix binging. I'm not alone, as Hooks states in this chapter. A huge majority of our population in the United States stopped reading books after high school graduation, still more after they receive undergraduate degrees, from page 130. This is a giant loss for all of us who no longer read, not only because some of us miss reading, but also because Hooks writes that imagination stems from the reading of physical books. Imagination is not just a skill that is useful for art, but a useful and applicable tool for any student. A strong imagination will lead to better paper writing, creative problem-solving skills, better projects, and being a more well-rounded student. The only two teachings I had issues with were teaching 25 on spirituality and teaching 26 on touch. Hooks emphasizes in spirituality that religion does not have a place in the classroom, especially secular schools, as I believe. However, she believes in the idea of spirituality in the classroom, while I do not. I hold this belief because some students may not be able to separate spirituality and religion as different ideas. This could cause these students to feel uncomfortable and retract from both the learning environment and the instructor, which would hurt both their learning and the relationship with that teacher. Similarly, I think the issue with touch is that it can make many students uncomfortable. I do agree with Hooks' ideas that touch can bring a teacher and a student closer together, especially when a student is seeking comfort, like in the form of a hug. However, I do think that physical contact can be uncomfortable if it is not reciprocated, and it is almost always uncomfortable when physical contact is observed by others in the classroom setting, which can cause students to want distance between them and the instructor. Overall, I would personally rate this work 9.5 out of 10 because Hooks presents her ideas in a way that is easy to read due to the short and somewhat standalone teachings. However, despite being brief in page numbers, Hooks' ideas are not brief at all. Her ideas are woven magically. There's a certainty to her responses that exudes confidence from her experience, but there's no sense of arrogance in her writing, which is very hard to achieve. My only issue with the book, as previously stated, was some of Hook's ideas presented in Teachings 25 and 26 simply due to a difference in beliefs. I would strongly recommend this book to students, especially those interested in pursuing any education-oriented career, as I found Hook's ideas extremely valuable to me as a student.